I'm here at the website of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights of the United Nations, and it's here where you can find the treaties for human rights as well as their general comments. So I was going to take a look at the treaty for the elimination of racial discrimination, and I wanted to see the general comment. So usually you have to scroll down the screen until you get to some general comments. Now, in the CERD, that's the Committee for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, they're not called general comments, they're called general recommendations. So just recognize that some treaties call it by a different name, but it's still the same important idea that they are interpreting provisions of a treaty because they're the monitoring body. So we're just going to look at this recommendation number 35. And we have the option to look at it as a Word document or a PDF in English. So we're going to take a look at it as a PDF. And essentially we see what it looks like a typical document from the UN. And the important thing here is to recognize that often there's background information inside of these general comments. So you can see here that they introduce it, they explain how the committee approached the drafting, and then they give the operative provisions here in part 2. So when looking at this and analyzing it, you have to recognize that you might get even additional information about why a treaty came about and what the thinking was behind the drafters. And this is really very important as you describe and analyze portions of the treaty. Here, I find it very interesting that then they talk about a specific article, Article 4, and they give their interpretation about words inside of that article. So these types of recommendations or comments are very useful if you are using persuasive arguments and you want to show that the actual monitoring body also has interpreted your idea the same way. Each and every section or important operative section of a treaty, at least in human rights, often has a corresponding general comment. So if you're writing on a provision in a treaty, it's often very important to take a look at a general comment or a general recommendation. I'm just going to scroll down to the end of this recommendation so that you see that various articles inside of the convention are discussed. And then at the end, there's sort of a summary paragraph that generally explains about racist hate speech.